We're going to have some fun today. I have never, ever done a podcast with more than maybe two people, other people, because it was maybe a couple, but for the most part, not. So this is a first. I appreciate. We'll talk about it in a second, but I was writing on their podcast, which, correct me if I'm wrong, A3 Life, right?
Yeah. Correct.
And the fun part about it is you girls are like having conversations, like having fun, joking around. It's not like every single little thing's edited out, as you're going. So it feels like it's just having a conversation, which is fun. I don't know if I should be saying that because it almost feels like a guy crashing girls' night. Should I not say that? Because that's how it feels. Like guy crashing girls' night. Is that illegal?
No.
It's borderline.
Well, that's what I do, right? Network marketing coach, so many people. We are females in the industry. I've got to try to understand the best of my ability. So that helps me out a ton. So the reason for the name of the podcast, they can tell you a little bit more in depth in a second. But first off, they've had a ton of success in network marketing. It's been fun to get to know each one of them. And as we go through this, you'll get to know their styles and their personalities, and they're fun. And I like they got a little feistiness and spunk to go along with it as well. And it's a mouthful when you're going through saying their names, because a lot of people can get confused. You've got Alli, Alyssa, and Alicia. And sometimes they're just like all over the place, right? They're just like, whoa. Well, Alyssa, it's a little bit easier just because she was at my mastermind in Mexico. We got to hang out, and we hung out in Texas, A&MP, right? So that's a little bit cheating. Allie's easy. Alicia, that can be like with the spelling with the two S's, that can throw people off a little bit.
Oh, it does. Nobody gets it right. Listen, if we even hear we just look, all of us. We're like, yes, which one? We just look. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to talk in just a little bit. I'm going to tell everybody this, just so you hang on and you go through this. We're going to talk about how to build your business in 90 minutes a day, because these ladies know better than anyone how to have success, but also manage that time, because all the time, right, you're busy, you got this, you got that, and you're trying to be an architect like you're taught to be in your business, but you feel like a firefighter because kid just threw up, and then other kids like dealing with this and that, right? And if you're married, maybe your spouse needs this and needs that. It's just like all over the place. How do you do it? So they're so much better equipped than I am to talk about. But first off, ladies, you've got your podcast. Why don't you tell us maybe how that came about, the name of it, the purpose a little bit, because I want people to go listen to your podcast as well. And then we'll transition into a little bit quickly. I want after that, think about a 1 minute quick background so they can hear it from each one of you. And then we'll get into some of the other juicy 90-minute stuff. So who wants to start?
Okay, there we go. I'm like, who's gonna volunteer?
So the good news is, because we do this all the time, Rob, we're pretty good. Sometimes we'll step on each other, but we've actually gotten pretty good at judging each other and when we're going to talk. So that does make it a little bit easier, because it is hard to sometimes podcast with 3 people, but we've had 4 too, because we have a guest sometimes on our podcast, as you know. So we actually balance it pretty well. So A3 Life came to light. We were on a trip somewhere. It was like a corporate trip with some colleagues, and some things kind of came to light, just to make a really long story short. And we're just like, why is everything a competition? Like with women particularly, why aren't we clapping for each other? Why aren't we hurrahing for each other? Why aren't we building each other up? In this industry, it happens, unfortunately. It happens everywhere in life, especially for women, for whatever reason it is. There's just not enough love and hoorah and way to go in our minds. So we're like, why don't we just kind of create this community and this atmosphere where if you have fake lips, fake lip injections, cool, that's cool with us. If you've gone off and had plastic surgery, cool, that's okay with us. If you have fake hair, cool, that's cool with us. We get so judgy in this community and again in society as general as women, and it was just nasty. It was just like Mean Girls all over again is kind of what we experienced an episode of. And we're just like, let's do something about this. Let's create, a warm, welcoming community for so many people and all women, not just in our company, but industry wide. It was just really to kind of build this united front of encouragement, motivation, inspiration. And we all worked well together. So we're like, let's just do it together. And it's something that no one else, that you don't see done a lot. But for us, it's been such, in my mind, a stability factor, because if Alicia is busy and Alli and I can cover something great, or if I was out on the boat last week fishing with my husband, they covered, so it's just almost like an extension of you, because there's always someone around, right? So if one of us can't make it, it's okay, because there's still two other people. So there are some podcasts that we can't all cover. There's been a couple and different things like that there's always the support system. There's always another lady around to kind of step up and step in your place. And that's been really encouraging and inspiring for us as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as women in general, just to help each other up, cheer each other on. And that's our number one goal, is to encourage and inspire and motivate other women that maybe aren't getting that, or they've experienced something like that. So that's kind of how A3 Life came to life. We're like, let's do a podcast. Had no idea what we were doing, threw it together. We're like, how do we edit it? I mean, we were completely clueless, Rob, completely clueless. So, and here we are. We're starting our third season. Our new episode launches on Friday. We do a weekly one. So it does take a lot of work and dedication. But like I said, with all of us, it just makes it a little bit easier. It seems to flow a little bit better. So yeah, going into our third season. So we're super excited.
There's something you just said there that made me think of, I went on this Brene Brown binge, where I swear I listened to all of her books. There's probably more, but I felt like I did. And she talks a lot about shame. She talks a lot about vulnerability. She talks a lot about authenticity. She talks a lot about judging. And she talked a ton about how we typically judge people the most where we're the most insecure. So I was just thinking what you were saying, because again, with my wife has incredible, incredible friends, but even still, of course, she's like one of those people that's like, everyone thinks she's their best friend. So it's like, and Alyssa, you know her, but there's been like 20 girls that would consider her one of her like 3 closest friends. So with that, it's like, geez, I'm like, you're on Marco Polo all day dealing with all these like friendships and connections and different things. In a good way. She's so good at taking care of others, but it's fun. It's hearing those conversations, exactly what you said. It's just interesting how people care so much. Like, who cares if they did this to their face or that to their body? Like, why does that affect you? Right. And it transitions into network marketing. Well, she just got lucky. She never did the work. She found so-and-so. Whether she did or didn't, who cares? Like, how is that? That's like your own ego that's getting involved. So I don't know. Those are some things that really just came to my mind. Is it's human nature, and it's stuff that a lot struggle with. We need more voices like A3 Life that are really just teaching people, putting the right things in their mind to focus, to get away from that human nature weaknesses that many of us have at different levels, new devils, right?
Absolutely.
And we found,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, we found that there wasn't a lot of people, like you're saying, that are having the hard conversations, that are willing to say like, hey, we've had success and it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look sexy all the time. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It sometimes is really tough, and we don't always say the right things or do the right things, and that's okay.
Yeah, to me, like, one of the phrases that I love shooting down, I'll just be honest, is that whole fake it till you make it, because I think that's actually the crappiest thing I've ever heard anybody say. Like, I just don't like it. I don't like that phrase. And that's a big one for us. And even in this podcasting, we had no clue what we were doing, but we're like, you know what? Like, we could wait until it was so perfect and so beautiful and it looked so professional and fancy and then come out there, or we could just come out like this and be like, hey guys, check out what we're doing. We're starting at the bottom, now we're here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, let people follow you, let people see you vulnerable, let people see the real you, the up, the down, the bad, the ugly. Like, to me, that's just super, super important, is just to be authentic and to be real, so people feel that and they understand that they can be that themselves. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, and you can be who you want. You can have pink hair, you can have blue hair, you can do this or that. I just think that there's so much focus on being a certain way and doing a certain thing that people lose themselves. And I mean, if you really truly want your vibe to attract your tribe, you have to show up as you. And people should know that that looks different for everybody, and it's okay. Like, you are who God created you to be, not who she was created to be or she was created to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the things I say is if you try to be everything to everyone, you'll be nothing to no one, right? And it's so many people are trying to fit in, and you don't ever fit in when you try to just fit in, because it's not really you, and in the end, it never works. So don't fake it until you make it. Instead, become the person you want to become. Instead, declare what you're willing to do and what your goals are and what your commitments are to be able to achieve those goals. There's power in that. Like, people like all the time, well, I don't want to fake it until you make it. I'm like, well, don't. So one of the things that I would say is I stated my goal. My goal was to make X amount, to do X amount of vacations, to do this and this. But then I followed it with, this is what I'm willing to do. And my goal is to do this in a year. And it may take me 2 or 3 years, but I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that was profound. Like, that moved people, because it was way more profound than, acting like you had done a lot better than you really have. So real quick, we're going to do 1 minute. This is like just fast, speedy version. Tell us, and we'll just go back in order again from Alyssa, Alli, and then Alicia. Alyssa, why don't you start? Give us a quick 1 minute recap of who Alyssa is.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Alyssa Cowart. I have been in the network marketing industry for going on 8 years now. It's been my full-time job. Had no idea what I was doing, fell in love with the product, then learned about the industry, and then my career was born, quite honestly. I'd done odds and end jobs, but hadn't quite found my calling. I was a teen mom. I had my son when I was in 10th grade, so I'd struggled financially and just kind of figuring out where I wanted to be in life. Again, fell in love with the industry, had some huge success right out of the gate, was the top earner at my previous company and the youngest at the time in that position. And then went on to a startup company, kind of the absolute worst. You've heard it all. It's never going to work. It's never going to last. But I did, made a leap and transitioned to a startup company. And I've been here going on 6 years. And just absolute love every minute of it. Been fortunate enough to be a top income producer, honestly, truly within 6 months of starting in the industry. Been a 7-figure earner now for a few years. So it's been a huge financial blessing, but along with that, I think my biggest blessing with this has been, I've had the opportunity to meet so many people that I would have never met. I was born and raised in a super small town, very narrow-minded about the world and the people in it. And this industry has brought me to so many people that I would have never known. And it's just been the best thing that I could have ever learned out of life or anything. I got a career, and my horizon has been totally broadened. So I'm super fortunate, love everything about it, and plan to do it forever.
Love it. Alli.
So I'm Alli Carlson. I live super, super small town in Indiana, less than 1,000 people, born and raised here. So rural Indiana. And I found network marketing when I was 22, I guess I was 22. And I was a single mom at the time of 2. I'd been married and divorced. In that divorce, I literally lost everything because he was the primary breadwinner. And so I ended up filing bankruptcy. So when I found network marketing, I was in the middle of bankruptcy at 23 years old with 2 little babies. And it was literally a living nightmare. And it's one of those things where I always had the desire to be around people and help people and figure out, we had an interview earlier today with one of my best friend from high school, and she said that it was always been a passion of mine to like figure out what makes people tweak, like the psychology behind things, and like how I can help people and learn more about them. And so when I found network marketing, it literally just took like one little taste of, holy crap, like I have my first $5 paycheck and I help somebody and I want more. And it set a fire within me and I fell in love. I'd never done this before. I had literally no idea what I was doing. I just was really excited. And I knew that if I could make $5, I could make $500 and keep going from there. So I became at the time the youngest earner in our company, top earner in our company in, I guess it took me 2 years to do that. So, and been blessed to get to lead and be a part of it ever since. And so, yeah, like Alyssa said, I don't plan on going anywhere. They're going to have to kick me out. So.
These ladies know what they're talking about, and always borrow these stories because sometimes I don't need them. I promise you do, because we're as we started out, too judgy. Or to judging our network marketing business. It's, oh, they're too good. I would never talk to them. Oh, they're not good enough, right? They're too busy. Oh, they're not busy enough. They're lazy. So don't prejudge. There's all different walks of life. Alicia.
Yes. So my name is Alessa Yarbrough, and this is my little story. So I've literally, before this, was just a stay-at-home mom. I've never worked a day in my life. I had my first son when I was 14 years old. I've lived alone since I was 15. It's definitely a very vibrant life. I didn't grow up knowing anything about network marketing. When I was introduced to this, it was basically just to lose weight. I've had 6 children, so I've had birthed 6 babies myself. I literally thought that network marketing was like, what women did when they just sat around with their friends and did like candles and Tupperware and all that. I had no clue that you can make money doing this, so it's just that kind of generational poverty story. Knew nobody with money, never had any money. I never graduated high school. It was a crazy thing. And so, I just used their product to lose some weight, and I don't know, I just loved it. I fell in love with it. What I love so much is that there's no prejudice to this industry. It doesn't matter if you're young, old, black, white, high school graduate, college graduate. It's an even playing field for everybody. And so, being that I've, like I said, never worked a day in my life, had 6 children, grew up poor, I knew nobody that had money. Nobody. Knew nothing about network marketing, but I started watching things on Facebook, YouTube, things like that, and just kind of learned. And I'm like, okay, if she can do this, then I can do this. I had no upline support. I had nobody teaching me, training me. I literally I saw that there was an opportunity to change the life and the path of my family, and I took off after it full force. And I'm like, there's absolutely no reason, if that woman over there and that woman over there could turn their life around and take that generational poverty and flip it, if they can do it, I sure the heck can do it. And so, yeah, that's kind of been it. It's been 5 years and my life is unrecognizable.
Love it. And it's fun to share the process of it, because I know everyone's like, oh, can't I? What am I doing wrong? Why am I stuck? It's just crazy. I always say mindset will eat skills and systems for breakfast. You figure out the right mindset and the rest falls in place. It's like all of a sudden now you magically start figuring out the strategies and the formulas and the hacks and all the ways to make it go. So we were going back and forth on this as far as topics goes, and the topic that you ladies came up with, I love. We started out with the beginning of alluding to that, how to build your business in 90 minutes a day. And I think that's important because I don't know the statistics, so let's make one up. 96.798% of people are doing this business part-time. So if that's the case, right? Come on, people, go with it. Even if you're listening to this podcast at the gym, just go with it. It's high, okay? If that's the case, they've got to figure out how to focus, because that's a struggle, because there's no boss to tell you what to do, when to do it. And many of you, we all have a million distractions. I mean, how many times have you checked your phone today for Facebook or Instagram or whatever your favorite app is, right? How many times have you gone and check, right? Like I had to start logging out of specific apps to really help me to focus. So I don't know who wants to start on this, but I want to hear from all three of you and just give my insights after each one of you talk. But let's just focus on just this question on how to build your business in 90 minutes a day. Who's up?
Okay, I can go.
All right, Allie's up.
So the concept came from exactly what you are talking about, which is not only people working this part-time, but let's just be honest, people working this full-time sometimes have no clue or are even more clueless, because now they suddenly have all the time, right? You know, other than when they're maybe momming or running kids somewhere or whatever they may be doing, they could either be binging Netflix or working their business. I mean, it's like one or the other. So the concept came from that. And so it's kind of like 6 quick steps to what that looks like. And the step number 1 is money's made in Messenger. So step number 1, and the thing that we have written down to spend the most amount of time on, about 25-30 minutes in this 90 minutes, is in that Messenger, talking to people, having real conversations. And when we say that, I always want to clarify this, whether we're talking follow-up or prospecting. When we say like having conversations, a conversation isn't, hey, Rob, what's up? What's going on in your world today? And then Rob says, oh, hey, Allie, thanks for reaching out. I'm doing this and this and that today. And then there's silence. Like, that's not a follow-up. That's not a connection. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking conversations. So I want to see, like, when I'm working with somebody on this, in order to sort of teach them to have conversations, is to set a time frame around it and explain to them what that looks like. 3 to 5 back and forth, where we're actually conversations before we move on. So we want a minimum of that many when I'm working with somebody to get people responding. So that is in the step 1. And then the next portion of step 1 also happens in Messenger. This is a quick thing, maybe like 10 minutes.
And real quick, do you count, so we're focusing on Messenger. Do you count it if they're interacting on a post as well as part of a conversation, or is that?
Yeah. So that's like 1B. Is if you are, have posts that are going on right now, or you're working in a group page or something like that. Yes, absolutely. That's like 1B. So 1A is working in Messenger. 1B would be working those type of posts like you're talking about. And there's all kinds of ways to do that. Whether it's an interactive post. I know Rob is super good at interactive posts. I've seen some of his interaction posts go like nearly viral, like have hundreds and hundreds of comments. And I'm like, I'm stealing that for later. Thank you, Rob.
I'm a little embarrassed about today's. Hopefully you guys didn't see it. It's had a lot of comments. We probably shouldn't talk about it.
Oh, I had to go look at it. I haven't even seen it. I had to steal it. I steal lots of stuff from people. But that's what we're talking about in the 1B section, is if it's an interactive post, if it's a hosted post. And listen, if I ever say anything in here that you don't understand, YouTube is your friend. I don't know, YouTube it, Google it. There's so many resources, y'all. So like, just I YouTubed everything. And when I started, Periscope was a thing, and now it's like not. I don't even know what happened to Periscope, but I Periscoped things. So like YouTube it if I say something. But there's so many ways. So 1B is to work what you have working for you. So whether it's an interactive post, it's a product post, it's a business post, it's a hosted post, if you have people giving you referral type posts, whatever that looks like. So that is step 1.
Step 2, we're going to move on to step 2, and this is about 20 minutes. So step 2, part A, follow up and complete conversations that you didn't do yesterday, because I think that's hugely important. We get distracted, life gets in the way, messages get buried. Next thing you know, you're 3 days behind. So making sure that you are catching up with what you didn't finish yesterday, I think that's hugely important. So again, it doesn't get buried. And get the date that they want to enroll and add people to your customer page. When you're talking to them, get specific in your messenger. Again, we're back in that messenger because that's where money is made. So you're going to get specific, find out exactly what date, oh, today's not a good day. When do you think will be a good day? And I'll check back in with you. Use that verbiage, use it to pull the exact dates out of them so you can follow up efficiently. It's just going to make your follow-up a little more efficient. You can follow back up and say, hey, Sarah, I realize it's Tuesday. Just wanted to check in with you, make sure your ordering process went well. Let me know if you have any questions. And then get them added to your customer page. If you have a customer page where you're putting your potential, something like that, get them added in those groups. In most instances, these customer pages should be full of testimonies, product information, whatever it is you're putting there and available to your products. Get these people moved from that messenger into your next step being, let me get you added to our amazing customer support page. You can learn more about our products. Here's some testimonies, whatever it looks like for your business, getting them involved in that step. So that is step 2, and that's approximately 20 minutes of your day.
So step 3, which is approximately about 10 minutes, follow up with anyone in your calendar that wanted to enroll today. So I'm going to go back to this is what me and Alyssa do. I have this calendar that's with me all the time. It looks a hot mess. I'm the only one who can understand it, and no one else needs to. I know what's written all over that thing. It's trashed looking, but you need to make sure that you're constantly doing your follow-up. Follow-up is key. If you don't follow up with people, what good is what you're doing? So make sure that you follow up with anyone in your calendar that wanted to enroll today. So if you have to go back through Messenger, go back through Messenger. If you have to, if you write it in your calendar, if someone says, hey, I get paid on Friday and I really wanted to order, you need to make sure that you're reaching back out to them. If they don't respond, listen, I will keep reaching out to somebody until they're not breathing. That's the way it is.
One of the things I'm thinking about right now as I'm listening to all of this is you're just becoming pros. And I say becoming so that nobody's like, but I'm not that good yet at having conversations. Mm-hmm. And I always say more conversations done right equal more conversions. So everything started with, these conversations, whether it was posts and then it shifted to the money is in Messenger. And then everything is back to a follow-up type process. We hear the fortune is in the follow-ups, plural. And it's like over and over and over again of more conversations. And it's more conversations done right. Like you all talked about, is it your Facebook group as well, where the conversation shifts there? Is it some sort of third-party validation where it's a messenger chat and you have a group chat now with your new person that's interested in your products, your business with someone else? But it's conversations. And what I love about that is that's what the system is. I think too many people get so systematic that they think like they're just going to send some link or some video and people are going to join. Like, we'd all love that, right? We'd all just love, here's the link and I just crushed my business. I mean, who wouldn't do network marketing and make insane amounts of money if that's all you had to do? Join and then just send this link out and we are just going to crush it. It's all about the conversations, right? And getting better and better and better as you go. So,
I mean, I just had somebody just today from 3 years ago, 3 years. I've been following up and talking to this lady, just resent her more information. We talked again today and she signed up again today. 3 years. So she's still breathing, still talking.
Well, and I think how you described it, Rob, is people need it simplified so they feel like, yes, check, I did do this. Yes, check, I did do this. So it is having that conversation, but it's so simply put and so easily followable, if you will, so easily to repeat, that it kind of simplifies it. But you're right. I mean, ultimately it goes back to having conversations, interacting with people, but it is kind of a step-by-step guide to make them feel a little more secure. Like, oh, this is what A3 said to do. And then the next step, because how often do we all hear, I worked my business all day. Really? No. You scrolled on social media all day and maybe sent a few messages, not worked your business, you know? And then they get burned out because they have just been playing on social media all day and they don't think their business is growing. So I love this. It's incorporating social media, which is obviously our only tool at this point, especially right now. But, you know, it's kind of simplifying it for them.
Let's get them off the scroll patrol. Let's get
That's
people
right.
focused. Alli, what are your thoughts?
My favorite part about like our first 3 steps there is that in order to do the first step, you have to do the second step, and then the second step you have to do the third step, you know, because if you need to know who to follow up with, then you got to fill your calendar with people. And if your calendar isn't, like, if you don't know who you should be talking to, then we have a problem, you know, because if you don't know who you should be talking to every day, then who are you going to talk to every day, especially when it comes to follow up. So I that's my favorite part about it, is helping people. A lot of times when I say that to people, they don't even realize, like, oh, I don't have anybody's name on my calendar, you know, and let's start there, you know, like, let's get some people's name on your calendar to talk to. And so that day when you do sit down, and at a minimum, if you're doing these 6 things every day, then we know you're not on the scroll patrol for at least 90 minutes. And if we can get 90 minutes of solid work out of you, then maybe that'll be enough to catch that fire and to get that spark going and to get you rolling. You know what I mean?
Well, you said at the beginning, I mean, most people that transition to doing this full time, they're not really doing it full time. They're fake working full time and working very, very part time. They're just trying to fill in the voids and the gaps. So now it's like, now they've watched 20 Facebook Lives, right? And now they've read 7 books in one day. And it's like, yeah, but what did you really do? Okay, so in parting, what I want is to hear from each one of you. What would be your top tip to give to that person this is my favorite question to ask, someone who's burnt out. It says, I'm just totally right now burnt out, or I'm stuck and I need to get my business back going and back flowing. And I know sometimes it's a technique, sometimes it's back referring to what you've already talked about, and sometimes it's a lot of just some things that you would do, mindset, because we've all been there. I know you've all been there, where you're just so burnt out. You're like, if I have to be on another Zoom or go to another meeting, I am just going to be done. I've been there. We've all been there. And so let's help. So I want to hear from each one of you in parting. So who's starting?
Okay, hold on, Rob. We had 3 more steps. That was only 3
great.
steps. I'm sorry, but you can do
No,
them fast, but there's
I like it.
4 steps. So that was 1, 2, and 3, and then we have 4, 5, and 6, and then
Let's do it.
Fast. Okay, Alli, you're on 4.
Okay, so 4 is the super fast one, and it's just to make sure that you are including in your daily method of operation, in your 90 minutes you're going to work your business, the posting portion of it. So making sure that you post on your Facebook page, stories, hugely, hugely important. I hope every single person listening to this is utilizing stories as a constant reel of you and your life and what you're doing. But posting on your page a couple of times a day, I don't recommend ever posting more than, I don't know, like a maximum of 3. Like that's a lot of posting on your page, like your profile page a day. That's a lot. So keeping those posts at a minimum, but making sure you're doing it consistently every day, and then utilizing those stories for the majority of the posting, as well as Instagram. So that's step 4. But a lot of people, you know, will say things like, well, I'm working, and I like go click on their profile page, and I'm like, you haven't posted on your actual profile anything in 3 days, dude. Like nothing, you know? So that's just a reminder to do posting.
That's great. And it keeps you visible, right? So people are thinking of you, and they also get to know you better. So when you do reach out, it just helps a ton. I mean, it makes a big difference when you increase that likability, not in a fake way, in a real way, and your credibility, and you're doing it through visibility with social media. So that's step 4.
Step 5, and this is only about 5 minutes. This should be pretty quick, pretty painless. That is to grow your friends, grow your friend list. That's something we have to constantly do in this industry. And how you do that may look completely different for other people. I'm not saying go friend request random people. There is kind of a strategy to finding new friends, whether it be in Facebook communities, whatever that looks like, however you're growing your following and connecting with new people, obviously a variety of different ways, but making sure at a minimum you're in that friend request, sending friend requests, obviously accepting friend requests because we want to constantly grow that. And this is really important. New followers on Instagram. If you are, utilizing that platform, making sure you're following new people, and with that, engaging with those new people every single day. Don't just go like their stuff, go make a quick comment. And that's, again, is going to help grow kind of that circle, shifting from Facebook to Instagram, but they're equally, as important when you're growing your business and kind of growing a following. So quickly, 5 minutes, finding some new friends, new friend requests, and some new likes on Instagram.
Alicia, I know you got some really, really good stuff to say. If you're listening to this podcast, you didn't get it on mute, but I saw the facial reaction, so I know it was.
Oh, gosh. Okay, step 6, unmuted. Okay, as you can, based on your availability, but do this every single day. Retrain your brain every single day, whether that's listening to a podcast, reading or an Audible, watch a training video, listen to affirmations, write out your proclamations. I mean, you have to show up for yourself and your brain every single day. And really, in my part to closing, I kind of feel like it goes with that, because you were saying, like, what do you do when you're in a funk or when you're this? And I've been there. Like, I have been there. So for me, sometimes stepping back just for a second is also stepping forward. When I'm at a place where I'm just dry and I'll step back, retrain my brain, write things out. Why am I doing this? Why did I start? What is my actual reason why? And that why changes a lot. It does. It changes as life changes and things happen. So, writing things down so I can see it. This is why I'm doing this. Yes, I might be tired. Yes, there might be stuff that's, difficult happening in life because life happens. Or, I'm just exhausted. You have to fill your cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I don't care how amazing you are. I don't care how strong you think you are. You cannot. So you have to take that time to sit back, pour into yourself, retrain your brain, do things that are going to cause you to be able to move forward again. And sometimes that is stepping back for a minute to step forward. Take a day, spend it, pour into yourself, write notes, so that's number 6. And that's my closing statement.
Recharge the batteries, right? Sometimes you just got to recharge to gain perspective. I've even gone on gratitude binges, right? To list 50 things, listen to a couple books, call a couple people. And then after that, it was kind of like in your mind, like go, like just go. And I just took action and acted myself into it. So that's good. Alli.
Okay, if I can get unmuted too. It's a struggle over here today. So I think mine would be reach up or reach out if you are in that situation, because I think all of us, like you said, all of us, hopefully you have a fantastic upline that you can have a very real, very candid conversation with. But if not, there is someone. so just either keep reaching up, find a sideline, find a mentor, somebody. But I had a really eye-opening conversation myself this week with a downline member who was in this exact place. And I offered her a call, and we were on the phone for 20 minutes maybe. And I said something, and she said back to me, I have never asked anybody like if they're ready to order. And it just took like that, like a 20-minute conversation with me. Like, this girl enrolls people like crazy, Rob. Like, I would have never thought she would be stuck in the first place. And then when she told me she was in such a funk, I'm like, well, let's get on the phone. And I said one thing about filling your calendar and getting, asking people when and when that you can check back with them and all those things. And she's like, I've never done that. And it just took like that one thing. So maybe you just need a conversation with somebody to have that breakthrough, to get out of that unstuck moment. And we hear that and we think, well, that's so simple. Why wouldn't somebody be doing that? Or why wouldn't they know to do that? But when we're in that place, or we're overwhelmed, or we're confused, I have had people have to retrain me on different things more than one time when I should have known the answer to it. And it just kind of sometimes takes somebody holding our hand and guiding us to it.
Love it. Reach up, right? And it's the simple things. Successful people just do the basics better. Sometimes we forget. That's why I think all the great athletes, they always get coaches, and the coaches work with them on some of the basics. I mean, even golfers, you see them going to putt, and it's literally they're a couple feet away is where they start always. So that's something that's profound for all of us to never forget. Alyssa, why don't you finish strong for us? No pressure at all.
Well, mine's actually kind of a combination of the two of them. And it's funny that you said that about the coach, because my answer was going to be every good coach has a coach. So whatever that looks like for you, coach, mentor, when you're struggling, someone to count on, and that is going to fill your cup. So it's kind of a combination of all of these things all in one, because I think, especially when you reach a certain point in a leadership role or a position in a company, people have these crazy high expectations for you. And sometimes you just don't know, or something doesn't feel right. And you're like, who do I ask? Who can relate to me? I mean, I've had conversations with Rob. I'm like, hey, can you call me when you have a minute? I'm unsure of something, or it doesn't feel right, or, have you had this situation before? So while I may be at the top of my game in my little world, I still need a coach, even like a fitness and nutrition coach. I pay someone every single month to ask me what I ate and if I exercised. Okay. It's crazy stupid, but it's the accountability of someone that I have to check in with, because like you mentioned, we have so much flexibility and so much freedom that sometimes we take that for granted. So if you have a coach that you have to check in with, that you have to be accountable, I know what to eat, I know what exercises to do, I know that, but something about having that accountability to check in with someone, I pay someone to do that. And I know that's crazy, and you pay to have coaches, and you pay to have mentors, and you pay to take the course, and you pay for the personal development. Yourself is a huge investment, and it's a long-term investment, right? It's never going to stop. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm not going to say go out and spend money that you do not have. There's a lot of free material out there, you guys. If you're in a funk, get on that YouTube, get on that podcast, listen, get yourself out of it. But long-term, think about investing in yourself, because it is a long-term investment. You need a coach. You absolutely need a coach. I don't care if you think you're the best and no one can teach you anything. And with that, you need to be coachable to your coach for them to say, yeah, you're wrong, Alyssa. That's not right. So I think for me, it's having a coach and having someone to be accountable to in my world.
100%. You've gotten so many different insights and tips. And again, the number one thing is the mindset to get you so that you can focus on what's important. But take some of these skills, some of these strategies, some of these ideas, and build on the belief, but then go execute. And then go make it happen, because I promise you, somebody in a company 10 times worse than yours, that has 10 times less skill set than yours, has made 10 times more than you. And you may say, but you don't know me. Trust me. I've spoken in 18 plus countries the last several years. Trust me. I've met someone in that exact situation in comparison. So I'm saying that so that you do believe in you more to be able to go make it happen. And go give these ladies a follow on A3 Life. You're going to have a ton of fun listening to these ladies. Go crash their girls' party. Even if you're a guy listening, you know, you can go just secretly listen so you get some insights on it. But thank you so much, ladies, for coming on. I know you had me on your podcast, you know, when you first started it, and I really appreciate that. We've been talking about it, so I'm glad we finally got to make this happen.
Yeah, me too. Let's get a picture real quick, everyone, before we hang up. Picture time. We always do pictures. All right, Rob. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for all that you do, not just for us, but the industry. We love you and appreciate you.
Thank you.